This video is entitled The White Hero Image Concept. If you look at movies, television, news, read newspapers, and things of that nature, most of the stuff you see on everyday television and radio stuff, you'll form this idea and the belief that there are all these good white people. Even in history, even like when you look at black movies like about slavery, civil rights and stuff, there's always a white hero, a good white guy in the movie. And psychologically, it kind of fucks with black people's minds a lot. Because you go on to think that back then, there were a bunch of good white people who would put their lives on the line to help black people, like back in slavery or Jim Crow, Reconstruction, all that kind of shit. But when you know history, though, you get a very different story. I was just looking at Lashid For You's channel. She got a video on there called Blacks Being Used as Targets. It's called African Dodger. And it was about games that white people used to play. A lot of circus games that are popular today. But the origin of them comes from racism. Like the African Dodger was, they would have a black person's head in a hole, and the white people would pay 10 cents or whatever to get some baseball and hit the black person in the face, and then win a prize for that. And the other one is quite popular today too, is the one where a person get in this booth full of water, and then you throw the ball. If you hit the target, the thing the person sits on drops them in the water. But the origin of it was something called the African dip. There was always a black person involved. And things like that. And there are a lot of other shit too. The lynchings, the colonization of Africa, all the wicked shit that white people did there, the shit they did in slavery, Reconstruction afterwards, and the Tuskegee experiment. You can go on and on and on and on and on. The Hottentot Venus thing. And history shows that there are not a lot of good white people. Just like lynchings. You look at lynching. Lynching was a party back then. It was a party. It was a big party. All the white people got together. They probably ate hot dogs and French fries. Watch the Negro burn. You know, this is the mentality. White people are like that. They're very sociopathic. It's the same thing, and it's the same reason why most serial killers are white. They get a thrill out of murder, killing, watching people die. And they'll say things like, well, every race got people like that. That's true. But white people have a huge amount of people like that. and the shit that they do is just unfathomable. The wickedness, the evil. And white people have done a good job of changing their image because they control the media. See, black people have no media to counter that. So white people control our image. They'll show all the negative shit black people do. But the shit that they do, certain shit, they cover it up. Or they'll isolate it and say, well, that's a rare case. And black people fall for that stuff because we don't have anything to counter that. It's just like, I'm going to cover another video about when people say Elvis is the king of rock and roll. See, what they really mean is Elvis is the king of rock and roll for white people, not for us. So when they control, they can. In black, you got black people who believe that they'll say, "Yeah, Elvis is a king," because they can't read between the lines. They haven't been able to. They haven't studied enough to see the truth about the way things really work in America. See, to know the present is to know the past. But history shows a very different idea about white heroes and shit like that. See, you can't really trust a lot of history when it comes to black people and whites and blacks and racism and stuff if it's covered by white people, because white people will change shit around. They'll accentuate the positive in themselves because there's so much negative that they have done and that is placed upon them. So, because they don't want you to hate them because the truth lets you know where you stand and where they stand.